Hello, welcome to my 8th video. My name is Jensen. If you haven't seen me in a while, it's because I just finished moving house and there was an issue with my computer and I had to completely wipe it. It was 100% my fault. It started off with a Wi-Fi issue, and because it couldn't connect to Wi-Fi, I couldn't really get onto the internet to download the new driver to get my Wi-Fi adapter to work, because that was really the issue. At the time, I didn't know that was the issue. And so, because I can't connect to the internet at all, there's no way to have my driver updated. And so, I made the critical mistake of restoring the driver to a previous point. Then my whole computer blue screened, and I had to completely restore it, taking it into Geek Squad and get a new SSD. So it was completely my fault, because whenever I got the computer back and turned it on, it still had the Wi-Fi issue. So I managed to hook it up a different way until I could get the driver on there. Basically, I had my fiance download it onto a flash drive from his computer and then put it on my computer. And then after that, it worked perfectly. So, but throughout all of that, I was in the middle of editing a video, and then whenever I had to reload everything onto my computer, I lost everything. So it completely killed my motivation to continue for a little bit, and then I was moving, so it was really easy to just not think about it. But here I am now. I'd really like to get back into the swing of it. I'm really excited to show you the things that I've been working on. I'm working on a fully fleshed out comic. I'm almost to the climax of the rough draft in terms of sketches, and then my final draft, I'm on the third page. I'm about halfway through the third page. So it should be, ready to upload here in a couple of months. It's probably the biggest thing I've ever worked on, but I also feel like it's the best thing I've ever done so far. So I'm really, really excited to show it to you. But for today's video, I really wanted to do another sketchbook flip through. And I know in my last video I said that I was going to show you these two, and I said that these are some of my very, very favorites, and I actually made this one. It could have come out a little bit better, but I got the Arche watercolor paper in cold press, the GSM 180, I think, the really popular one, and I sewed them all together. I bound it. You can't really tell very well, but yeah, I sewed all of them together. I bound it. I made this myself. I got like a thicker cardboard and then this fabric. I'm so incredibly proud of it, but the only issue with it is that it doesn't really open flat, and so you really have to hold it open while you use it, and so it was a great idea. I'd really like to do this again, but have a little bit more skill and more efficacy behind it. So let's just get into it. All right, I've got my coffee and I'm ready to go. So let me make sure my microphone's close enough to me. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and start with this first one, this one that I was just speaking about, just because it's not full and you'll quickly see where the issue comes in it. But some of my very favorite paintings are in here as well, so it's not like the paper was the issue. You'll see. So, as always, I usually keep my first page blank. I started doing that because, one, it helps get rid of anxiety for starting a new sketchbook, and two, for other sketchbooks, particularly the ones that are the wire, like these, the front page rubs against it really, really bad, and I always felt like it just kind of destroyed the quality of it. So I usually keep it blank, and then now for my second page, I usually just do color swatches, but this one I was feeling a little froggy. This is supposed to be like a Medusa character. And then of course these are my washes that I tried. This is whenever I was still this is just watercolor. So I was into watercolor for a little bit, but I've always been more of a gouache girly. This is a self-portrait. And then that's just a cute girl. We got a flower. This one I had, I brought it up in my last video. There's some paintings where I start with this really incredible detailed idea, and then I just never follow through with it. So this was supposed to be kind of a kraken, or, some kind of octopus monster in the sky at sunset. And then these were going to kind of blend into the clouds, and then this was supposed to be the curve of the earth, which you really can't see because I didn't didn't really finalize the idea. But that's that. And then this this is just a sad page. This was whenever my rabbit passed away. Her name was Nebulous. She was very cute. I miss her. But yeah, I was still feeling sad about my rabbit, so that was me holding my broken heart. And then a little bit more attempts at some gradients. Here's another one that, again, very large idea. This one was with a reference, but it was this really wet, foresty area with this really urban city in the background. I really liked it, but and then this is a ballerina, and this is supposed to it's supposed to be Amy Winehouse, but looking back on it, it's a little cringe. But I really like you might be able to tell on the camera, but I like in the skin, it's this muted green, and then her dress is this muted red, and so it's very nicely complementary. And then this is, I was trying out some dip pens, I believe, and I believe that is the last of it, because as you can see, especially with watercolor, it has a mind of its own, and so having to hold it open it just made it not as fun. And so that's this one. And this one here, to this day, this is fall 2015. To this day, this is one of my very favorites. I love just about everything in here. So without further ado, and as you can see, I don't remember if my dog or my cat did that, but probably my dog. Okay, let me take a little drink of coffee. Alright, so let's get into it. So this is a really cool dragon snake. I love that. Love this ocean. Love these deer. Deer's my favorite animal. This is still like one of the best deer I've ever drawn. This is a little river with some wet stones on the side. This one is supposed to be like some spaceship or something is sucking the water up, and so it was supposed to be an attempt to work with textures and how to make that fun but still read as water. This one was really fun. It has a little bit of a story behind it. This little giant slug monster was originally a little lake, but I just couldn't get the perspective to work the way that I wanted it to, so I just made him a big old monster. And I still love this painting. I remember doing it and just feeling like, wow, this is incredible. So this is whenever I was still using those water brushes, like those paint brushes that have the water in the brush. And I liked them for a time. I really did. But I've kind of moved on from them. Oh, this one. I was feeling really, really sad that day, feeling rejected, feeling not wanted. And so I painted this. And I remember I was showing the sketchbook to my old roommate, Lonnie. Shout out to Lonnie if you're watching this. And she's flipping through it, and she looks at this page and she stops. And she starts describing how it makes her feel. And she says, it just makes me feel sad and lonely. And I'm like, wow, that's so great. That I love that you were able to pick up on that. So this is the very first picture where the mood actually carried across to the viewer. So I love this one. And then the very next day I was like, you didn't screw that guy. I can, you know, buy myself flowers. So this was me trying to come with a new beauty out of the sadness of the rejection. So 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I got over it pretty quick, I guess. Well, I was still sad, but you know what I mean. I love, 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 love this one. This one's one of my favorite paintings of all time. And then this one was one of those, it was like a calligraphy pen that it's water reactive. So whenever you would draw with it and you activate it with water a little bit, it turns to this green color. And then if you activate it with water again, it faded to that pink color because of the undertones in the pigment. It was pretty popular back in 2015. I felt like everyone was kind of using it. So I had a lot of fun with it. And then this was with my friend Nick. We used to hang out all the time. We would have girls' night where me, him, and a couple of our other coworkers would get together and dress up and watch shows together. It was such a fun time. So nostalgic looking back at it. And this one, okay, so I'd really like to, well, this one, okay. This one is that calligraphy brush that I was telling you about that had the undertones, so that's that. And then these two are really, really cool because it was this moonstone that I had. This was my first attempt at it, and I was trying to get all the colors in it. I was trying to show every single little change of color, and then I was like, that looks nothing like it. And so I realized, this was the page where I realized that less pigment actually creates like that beautiful luminous look. So this was an eye-opening page for me, even if it doesn't really look like that to the viewer, and then that's just a thing. But this is a little tree. Well, I guess it's a big tree. I was using what's that stuff called? Masking fluid? Yeah, I was using masking fluid at this point, trying to figure out what that was all about, seeing if it worked for me. This one was made with a friend, Ashley. So she did this bottom half, and then I did this top half. I really like working with people, and I really love it whenever people draw in my sketchbooks in general, because it's so interesting to see, especially when they use the exact same materials that I'm using, still how different it comes out. And I always think that that's really fun, and it's just fun to have a collaborative feel. So here was another really big aha moment. I knew that colors generally get more cool toned as they get further back in the perspective. But this one I wanted to try with having the coolest tones in the front and the warmer tones in the back and see what that looked like. But as I was doing it, I picked up more pigment back here. So these ones that are supposed to be in the very back, they're more saturated. And so because of that, they don't fall back in the same way. And so I realized that it wasn't really the color that's important, it's the saturation of the color. So big aha moment on this page, even if, again, the viewer can't really tell. It was big for me. This is such a fun page. There's these hydrangeas right here, and they fade to this paper white, and it's so light at the very top of it that it's kind of hard to catch on the video, but you get the idea. They're flowers. I like flowers. A lot of these my friend Erin did, so shout out to Erin. But this little dog peeing on the fire hydrant, I thought it was honestly so clean. The dog especially, that was such a few amount of lines. This is a betta fish jumping out of the water, and then underneath the water you can kind of see this crocodile if you look closely. I'm gonna turn on my main light and see if maybe that will fix the contrast issues that I'm having. Wait a minute. Okay, I just noticed there's these horizontal lines that are slowly making their way down the screen. I thought maybe if I turned on my main light, it would get rid of it, but it just made it worse. So, it's obviously an issue with my webcam. Until I can get it sorted out, just pretend that they're little waves just going down the screen and they're relaxing you as you watch this wonderful content. Again, my apologies. I just really want to complete a video. I don't want to come up with any sort of like, oh, well, I don't want to do it because I need my webcam, and I don't want to do it because this, that, and that. So I'll try to edit it out as much as I can in post, but I'm really, really sorry. It just might have to be something that is on this video for whatever reason. So frustrating. This one is just another sad girl with flowers. It's a motif. This one, I was mostly just trying to clear out my painting palette without wasting in any paint. So before I would go into another picture, sometimes if there was just so much paint on my palette, I would just make a couple of quick things with what was there. So that's Kirby in the clouds and a beach sunset or sunrise, either way. And here's another one. I actually love these colors. The green, the purple, it's so muted but so warm at the same time. I think that you'll notice in a lot of my later drawings, whenever I was getting really into alcohol markers and things, a lot of it is exactly this palette. So this was the first time I think I ever saw it all together, and it just really blew me away. So, and here's just continuing the couple past pages where I'm just kind of getting rid of colors in my palette and just sketching. This one I had a really high hope for. It was going to be pretty fun, but so my plan was I had another page on top of it that I had cut out shapes of, and then this was supposed to be like the underneath page. So it was like you turn the page and it just looks like these little shapes that are colored in, and then anyway, it was a good idea, but my X-Acto blade didn't. I don't have the skills with an X-Acto blade well enough to have pulled off what I was trying to pull off, so I still kept this one in here. And then here's another rainy city. This is another one of my very favorites. I love how wet the street looks, and it's still so loose. And yeah, this one combined with this sad ocean and that one are three of my very favorite paintings. Like, I love all three of them. Here's another self-portrait. It's me looking to the right. Back whenever I still had my industrial. I miss that thing. I miss it. Here's a color palette swatch. This one's actually not all different colors. I think I just went in with like this yellow. I think I just had a couple of colors, then I tried to make a palette around that. Here's trying some more color palettes. I was working on a different paper, so this was more just kind of my swatches. That's one of the Homestuck characters. This is trying to talk to my friend about perspective. Okay, so I hope you like purple if you're watching. The next couple pages are going to be filled with purple, and that's because I got this purple paint, and whenever I opened the tube, it just exploded everywhere. And so I tried to use as much of it as I could, so I wasn't, again, just wasting it. So bear with me. There's a lot of purple, a lot of lyrics, quotes. We're just gonna speed run it. So this is like a piranha plant. That's a girl in the winter. These are just some abstract shapes. I guess I use these for something else. I'm never one to tear out a painting just because I don't like it. So if you ever see any pages ripped out, it's usually because I just needed the paper for something else, or I gave the painting to somebody. This one was really fun because it was during a really fun opportunity where I got to be one of the featured artists at this event, and so this was one of my entries for it. And because they said, give us an idea of what you would be drawing at the event, and so I drew this and sent it to them, and I got accepted, and it was an incredible experience. This one was during Inktober. And there is a story behind it, but it's really sad, so I'm not going to get into it. All you really need to know is that she's sad. Here's another Inktober. It started off I was just trying to draw the piano, and then I got a little silly with it. Then we got the shoop de whoop. These are incredible. I love the Bop It. This is a Plumbus. This one, I was like, well, what if the shoe's on the other foot? So it's like this dog girl walking her her human, but he looks so silly. Oh man. This is another Inktober one. This is some French notes. This was in my French film class. And then a girl sitting down. Got some two styles together. I'm trying to remember if I drew these. I'm not sure if I did. I think me and somebody might have drawn these together, because it kind of doesn't look like my style, but it kind of does. I don't know. It's hard to describe. That was in one of my drawing classes I was in. We had to draw ourselves as if we were, I think, 30 or 40 years older. And so that's me as an older woman. And that's the end. So that's the end of my 8th video. I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you forgive me for the delay in uploading, as well as those weird vertical lines. I assume that it's probably just because I had it facing down and then I had a light source nearby, because whenever I tried to turn on my main light, it made it worse. So I have no idea what was causing it. Hopefully it's something I can fix and I don't have to get a new webcam, because that would kind of suck. But that's a problem for another day. And next time I will probably either show off my comic or I will do another painting video. And I've been watching a lot of painting content, so I feel like I have a little bit better of an understanding of how to make a video look more interesting, rather than it just being sped up the whole time with a voiceover. I really think it's more visually stimulating to have just clips that are the right speed and, you know, just not show the whole thing. So I'm gonna try to do something like that, and hopefully my content will just start coming together. So until then, I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you get home safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.